Well, welcome again to another Discover Trempealeau County show. As you know, we've been traveling around the county for a few years, quite a number of years, talking to interesting people and the interesting things that they've done. And today we got a special show, and we got Ron Henry behind the camera, and he's there to do a good job of filming and editing, so we really appreciate him. The fellow that we're highlighting today is to my left, Dave Pientok. Dave Pientok from Whitehall. And we think, Dave, that this park is probably one of the nicest, prettiest parks in west central Wisconsin, and especially for a small town. I don't think it is exceeded, maybe far and wide. Before we get into the park, I'd like to ask you a little about yourself. You're the CEO, I think, of Tri-City Sanitation. Is that correct?
If there's a title, I guess that's it. Owner, yes, that's been in the family for 45 years. I took over from my dad in 1994, and we're still plugging away.
And your father, he's the one that started it.
Yes, May 1st of 1971. So we've been around for just at our 45th anniversary.
Wow, and he's still around seeing it run, isn't he?
Oh, Laverne voices opinion quite often and make sure things are running right. So we got a good guidance there.
He doesn't change with age, you know.
No.
Well, when you say Tri-City, what do you have more than 3 cities, or how? Where'd you get the name?
Yeah, it started out as Whitehall, Blair, and Independence. We had our headquarters, if you want to call it that. Started out at the old school out between Independence and Elk Creek. Started there with 1 or 2 trucks, and eventually moved the headquarters of the office to downtown Independence. It was the State Bank of Independence. I'm not sure what it is now. And moved to Whitehall in 1985, I believe. The old John Matson property down below Whitehall Specialties. And we've got about 15 trucks, over 1,000 dumpsters, and we do keep busy.
You must go beyond the Tri-County area on occasion.
Yeah, we as we said, started with the 3 cities. We now service 15 municipalities, and we get out. We try and stay within 25 miles of Whitehall with our garbage trucks, but the construction boxes will go out a little bit farther.
Well, I got to ask you a few questions. I know that I remember you as an athlete. Yeah, we're going to be talking about this field here at Melby Park here in Whitehall, and the work that you've done on it. But where did you get your inspiration to start working on this park? It didn't look too good to begin with. And was it your background in sports?
That had a lot to do with it. I think that Whitehall's always been a baseball community. My grandfather played way back 1900s, and I graduated in high school in 1974. And that had a lot to do with it. I played on a field of shavings, I guess, and basically crushed rock and limestone. And I thought, this was a baseball town, let's make it look like a baseball field. So got a group of about 40 people together back in 2001, question and answer kind of a deal, and we took it from there.
You know, Dave, one thing, kind of sad to bring it up, but one thing I remember about you, your sister got killed in a truck accident, and your brother eventually died from the truck accident. But they had a football game, maybe the same day as they got killed or the day after, and you were the quarterback.
No, I was a wide receiver. Yeah.
Wide receiver. Well, you were playing, and it was just fresh in all of the town's memory, you know, and it was such an inspiration to see your fortitude and your strength, you know, under such adverse conditions. So you're a strong guy on the inside.
Well, thanks, Olin. It was a tough day, obviously. Friday, October 8th, 1971. So I remember that quite well. And yeah, it was homecoming, and it was a tough night, not only for the family but for the community. It was a tough day.
It really was, and especially for the family, you know. Well, then let me ask you how you. What inspired you, or what was the first thing you started working on here on this field? I know that you got a lot of help from a lot of people, but you were the spark plug, the inspiration behind, I think, everything that's been done here. And so when did you really get started?
Like I said, we had a meeting in, I think it was the fall or winter of 2001, and say we had about 35, 40 people show up, and former baseball players, parents of kids coming up, just citizens that like baseball, and we had a little meeting, and I still got the minutes, or not the minutes, I guess, but my outline from when I did the meeting, and I got some pictures here we'll show you later, before and after. And that started all, and a lot of people were gung-ho, and we just took off with it. And one thing we're proud to say, I guess, is that there are no city tax dollars invested here. This is all volunteer work, donated money, in-kind donations. For fundraising, we sold the seats behind us, I think it was $125 per seat, and that was with 219 seats, we raised a lot of money there. So it was a community effort. It's not just me, folks. So
well, it's amazing. No city tax money went into this.
No, I promised the mayor and city council and everybody else that we would start out. We didn't expect to go this big. We just wanted to work on the infield and the fence, and all of a sudden we did dugouts, we did the press box, the grandstand. So we built as we had the money. We didn't go out and borrow it, and we just. It got to be a little competition, I'm going to say, between us and Osseo. They got a great ballpark up there. Olin's been to that, and Ron's been up there for high school and Wolves games. It seemed like I don't know, it's a fun competition, and we're trying to stay one step ahead of each other. I know they're working on a grandstand project now, and they've got a nice little, I guess it's the Moose Anderson Pavilion, late Moose Anderson, good friend of mine, and we aren't going to go that far, but we got some other ideas. If they do something, we'll do one more.
A little competition going then. And so just tell us, this is a beautiful stadium behind us, and I think Ron is doing some filming. What did it look like before? I think I remember it all being wooden benches and everything.
There was the old your typical high school wood football bleachers. They moved down from Sunset football field down to here and put it behind the backstop. And
but do you know about what the seating capacity is?
There are 219 seats. They do have cup holders, stadium seats, various sizes. I bought the chairs from a company out of Michigan, American Seating. They're very helpful. They designed it for us to maximize the space we had. So it's been a good addition. We only went with half a roof because some people like to sit in the sunshine and some want to have the shade. So we got the best of both worlds. We do have a handicap area here in front. It's wide enough to put a wheelchair, which of course was a requirement of the state when we sent the plans in. So we've got a ramp on the far side behind us. So we like what we did.
Well, I noticed you gave a lot of people credit while we were waiting a little there. I went over and looked on the other side of the bleachers here, and there's a list of names who contribute seats, everybody that contributes seats, 200 and some.
219 seats.
219 names there. You got a monetary and in-kind, which I suppose is people that gave money and provided work. Is that
yes, we had, obviously monetarily we got quite a bit of help from all the banks and some major businesses around the area, not only in Whitehall but surrounding communities. We spread it out to Independence, Blair, Whitehall, wherever we could get money from. We weren't going to turn it away. So.
And weren't you the main guy behind that?
You
were the guy that asked me if I'd donate a chair. And it's hard to say no. I
guess I got a reputation of when people see me walking down the streets, they kind of turn and ran because they knew I was going to ask them for something, whether it be some volunteer work. So I got a picture of about 35 pretty religious young kids, now older obviously, and us adults, and we had a good time and didn't work them too hard, but it was all volunteer help. we've got about 175,000 actual expenses in here. Remember when we were doing the grandstand and Greg Jarowski was over here to help us with it, with the concrete work. He said that had we put it out for bids, just the grandstand alone would probably run 150,000. So thanks to everyone that helped. They don't know how much I appreciate it.
Takes a lot of ability to get that kind of help, you know. So you got to give yourself credit for, asking, asking and twisting the arms. And you've did a wonderful job. Now we've just been talking about the grandstand, but I think, and one thing, you put a beautiful fence up so nobody's going to get hit by a baseball that's sitting in the stand.
Yeah, we put extra netting up. We put an extra addition of fencing up above here with netting to keep as many foul balls in play here, not in play, but inside the fences, so kids don't have to go chase them in the parking lot or break some windshields.
Dave Pientok here we're out in the field now, and you found out the date. You had that along for the grandstand.
Yeah, the grandstand was built in 2004, and then the next project we wanted to tackle was the scoreboard.
What was there a historic scoreboard here before the new one was put in?
They're way back down the right field line, first base line. There was a wooden scoreboard that kids would fight over to hang numbers on to keep score. Everybody seemed to enjoy that. And then Pepsi had a scoreboard out in right center field. Your typical small, I don't know what size it was, maybe 4 feet wide by 8 feet high, if even that. But we thought, well, we've stuck some money into the ballpark. Let's upgrade the scoreboard, and that was our next project.
Well, this must have been a little complex for you because there's a lot of different companies that make scoreboards. So, what motivated you to buy the one that you did here?
Don't really remember. I had met a gentleman from Nevco down in a convention. I don't remember where it was. I think it was in Madison, and I don't remember what I was down there for. I think it was a football officials meeting, and I went through and I met the guy and hit it off with him pretty good. I invited him up, told him what we were looking at doing, and he said, I'll send you some photos and put some stuff on the internet. And I literally, as far as the internet goes, I figured it out, and had Bill come up here, and we went through some things. He measured up and suggested a certain size for a baseball field and different options on it, and this is what we chose.
What are some of the features on that scoreboard that make it a little better than the average?
The scoreboard itself is pretty basic. You've got at-bats, runs, your balls, strikes, and outs, and your individual inning scores, total hits, and total errors. Unique feature we've probably got, this message board has got the capability of somebody hits a home run to show a baseball spinning and it says home run. We raised a lot of money with the advertising we did on the scoreboard, and then there's other animated features. I don't have time to sit here and do every game. I wish that I could get some high school kids to grasp it and have fun with it. There's a lot of options on there that most people don't see. We do have some advertising on there. Wolves games and high school games, we do put players' pictures on there. Everybody likes to see their picture up on the board, so we decided to do that, and we got some tweaking to do on that. If you use certain colors against that background, it doesn't always show up good, but we're getting that down pretty good. So I said hopefully next year we'll have the sectional baseball tournament here and get all 4 teams participating to get their pictures to us, so everybody that plays up here will have their picture on the board.
Oh boy, that'd be something exceptional. Now I notice there's something going on right now. You got colored, it looks like a huge TV screen or something.
Yeah, that's the message board I've been talking about here. Just welcome to Melby Park is what I just want to show people here today, that it's you can see that from the grandstands quite easily.
Well, maybe we should talk a little bit about the outfield fence. That's all been put in. You got the distances on the fence scattered around. In right field, or no, that's left field, you got the fence a little bit higher because it's shorter. Now, was that put in about the same time?
That was done in, I believe, 2003. In 2002, we put sod down on the infield we're standing on, not obviously turf, but we did the sod, and then we put fencing up and enclosed the whole thing. The previous fence, the high school team had to put up an orange plastic snow fence every year, pound the stakes in and take it down, and it got to be a real hassle. So that was one of the other things we wanted to eliminate, was then having to do that kind of work. So we went with the green fence in the outfield to kind of separate it from the rest of the field. Yeah, that's our mini Fenway wall out there. It's 2 sections high instead of 1, because it's only about 302 to that corner. So we try to take away some of the cheap home runs, but with aluminum bats, they still fly out here pretty good, which is nothing wrong with that.
You also, I believe, have a warning, along the fence. Everywhere along the fence, there's a warning. What is that? It's dark brown in color. What is it?
That's your warning track. So when players are running towards the fence, they can feel the difference in texture on the turf. Obviously, when we had sod here before this turf went in, that was crushed rock. So when you went from grass to crushed rock, you knew you're getting close to the fence. So hence the name warning track. But we wanted to keep the green part of the playing field separate. That's why the baselines are still the natural brown color, and the warning track is brown.
Is the warning track also artificial turf?
Yeah, everything you see from the first base all the way down to the corner in right field and in left field, the warning track is all turf. And the infield, including what's typically your dirt portion of the infield, is turf. Home plate is turf. The only thing that is dirt is a pitcher's mound. We don't really want to put turf out there. Have a pitcher catches cleats or break an ankle or something like that. So it's a little more maintenance around the mound, but you got to keep some natural features.
I'd like to add one more thing about your fence that completely circles the field. You have the capability of locking it so that you keep vandals out of it. And also, you're real smart in putting some kind of protective deal on the top of it. So, when a person's running out for a fly ball and he's reaching up, something sharp or something, and that's all protected all the way around. Would you explain that a little bit?
It's just it's a plastic safety cap that just snaps up over the top, and it's tied through the cyclone fence with zip strips or just a binder. You're correct, Olin. If you're running for a foul ball and you've got a jagged edge up on top, you reach over the fence, you're not going to cut your arm. So it's a nice safety feature.
It's a great feature. Well, we'll talk a little bit about this sod, what do you call it? Turf. Sod turf, Not sod. It wouldn't be soil. This is turf.
This is turf.
Now, we're looking down at it right here, and the sun is kind of sinking to the west. It looks like a lot of speckles, really bright speckles in this turf. What is that? Anywhere you see it, it seems like these bright speckles are in there.
That's just the fibers. That's not plastic, but it's a artificial. It's a sports turf field, so you're going to get that as the sun takes different angles at the turf. It's going to shine in spots. So. One thing we are going to correct at the end of the season, we got a little rust here with a spring baseball, so some of the turf didn't get here in time, so we had to rush in the spring. And we try to keep all the grain as you're running the base pass, you stayed with the grain. I'm going to point this out, so if you come here to the ballpark next time, you can heckle me about it, but we tried it that way, and we're going to do some moving at the end of the season. But running from home to first, the grain, you're running with the grain. First to second, you run with the grain. And then we said, well, let's keep it so you're running with the grain. So from second to third, and then third to home, you're always running with the grain. But if you were to come out here and walk on the behind the fence by the scoreboard, you can see different shades of brown. It's the same shipment of turf, but just the way the grain lays, it shows up different. You can look at home plate as we're standing. It looks a little lighter brown. So did we miss order? No, it just the way the turf lays and the angle you look at it. If you look at it from first to third, it looks dark over by third and light by first. You go stand by third, it's just the opposite. So just you're looking across the grain. So we're going to turn the area between second and third we're going to cut it and turn it so it all runs the same way as the infield green does. So you won't notice that next year.
Now, can you explain just a little bit about the turf? This is all turf, and about how thick is that? How thick is the turf? It looks like grass, looking down at it from this height, but it's not grass, it's something artificial. And about how thick is it? And there must be a certain technique that you have to use to get the soil below that level, completely level.
The fibers are about 5/8 inches high. The field before was limestone or shavings, I guess, and that was compacted with a roller by the county many years ago. And with all the years, it kept using that roller to pack it down, so it got really hard. So when we stripped this to put the sod in, we just put a couple inches of black dirt, put the sod on top of that. That was in, I believe, 2002. And then in 2011, I got the bright idea that let's cut down on the maintenance. The city guys had plenty to do, so well, let's try some turf. Well, we took the sod up and stripped the black dirt off back down to the shavings, and rolled our turf out on that. And then at that time, the area we're standing on and foul territory was turf. Everything else was dirt. Well, that started raising issues of maintenance. When you rake the dirt after a game, the dirt started getting underneath the turf. Well, that started making lips. So it was a hassle. It wasn't a real good quality turf either. We didn't want to spend a lot of money and then have to replace a.
So you're talking about the first turf that was there.
Yeah, the first turf. Yeah, that was put in 2011, and then that we did that for 4 years. So we thought, well, let's just do the whole thing. We took that out, and the base is already there. It's a nice firm base. So all we did was they're 15-foot wide rolls and different lengths. We rolled it out. The grain runs from first base towards the outfield, and you just keep going right down the line, and you seam it with roofing, 4-inch roofing tape, sticky tape. And is it perfect? No. There's some seams you can see. I know where they are. A lot of people have seen them, but again, this is all volunteer work. We talked to a company to install just the area we're standing on, the green area inside the foul lines, and they told me $38,000 just for this part. Well, we bought all this turf for a heck of a lot less than that and installed it for thousands less than that. So the volunteer help, they did a great job. It was fun to do, tedious at times. We got some things we got to tidy up a bit, but again, we got tied up here with the early baseball spring season, so we had to just get it playable for this year.
And it might be well to point out to the people that are watching this show that this looks like dirt, going down to the first baseline, but that's all turf also. Yep. Now let me ask you, how did you? It takes a little investigation to figure out this turf is really good. The other left a little to be desired. How do you investigate that? How do you dig into that? How do you know that? Where do you find out information about turf?
You Google artificial turf or sports turf, and several companies came up, and I hooked up with a guy out of Georgia whose son pitches for Notre Dame, so we hit it off pretty good. And we just kept ordering, and I had good success with him, but you just went on the internet and took your chances.
Well, when it comes, does the turf come in huge rolls and then you roll it out, or how do you start the turf? Yeah,
like I said, it's 15 foot 2 inches wide. We do have an extra roll over here we can show later on, but it comes in a roll. I said some sections we ordered 86 feet long, some were 120 feet long, depending which area of the field we're rolling it out on. So you just laid them out. Rolled them out and shook them as tight as you could get it, and seamed it. And then there are spikes in here, barn nails, 8-inch barn nails. Some areas every 2 2 feet, 3 feet, some places 1 foot. We want to make it as safe as possible. So there's some labor involved in it too.
Well, there's a there's a lot of labor in getting this put in, and there's a lot of money to buy the turf. Now, I'm curious to know where you get the money. You said there's no tax money on any of these things that went on in this field.
That goes back to my begging process. I approached some people, organizations, and the school. They use the field, so Superintendent Bigley thought it'd be a wise investment for them to help out. They paid for the former dirt portion of the infield. No, I didn't have a problem raising money. I guess you just got to go out and ask. If they say no, they say no.
Well, you're pretty hard to say no to, I think. It's a beautiful, beautiful job. And I don't know, are we done talking? Oh, I got to ask you a question. These people that play the Wolves, and we'll talk about them a little bit later, don't they have cleats on the bottom of their shoes? Well, is there any maintenance around the batting where they bat, where cleats would maybe have an effect of going through this turf?
It's supposed to be a 15-year turf. Around home plate is probably going to get replaced more often than that because of just the number of times you got cleats rubbing on the turf. It's going to be a process of cutting out the batter's box area probably every couple of years and replacing that. But it's not maintenance free. It's low maintenance. And we'll get back to the installation of the turf. We've got about 10 tons of sand on here, and then so far about 2 tons of crushed rubber. And we've got 2 more tons up at one of my sheds that we're going to put on after we make sure that we're going to refluff the fibers and make sure we got it how we want it. There's a couple of areas here that got worn down just from guys standing around like we're doing. But so it's first year we got to make sure we get things figured out, and then after this first year now we should be able to get enough rubber in there the fibers will stand up by themselves and eliminate some of the padded down areas.
Well, then the only thing that's really sod and grass, that's beyond the brown area out there. It's turf, is that right? The outfield is all grass.
The outfield is still natural turf. You got to have something natural in baseball yet. You can't have it all turf. But we didn't. Somebody did ask me about doing the outfield as turf too, and I said not in my lifetime. That it's they estimate about $250,000 to do that, and then there's plus we put an irrigation system in there about 3-4 years ago, so I really don't want to waste that money. So,
well, it's a beautiful field. I just want to back up a little bit so Ron can get a good picture of this pitching mound. And this mound, I noticed after the last game, I was here when you played, I think it was the Bloomer this last weekend, a doubleheader. A couple guys spent quite a bit of time around the pitcher's mound because that's kind of sandy material, and apparently with the pitching and everything, maybe a little of it gets on the turf too. I don't know.
Yes, we've got a little bit of clay in front of the mound. The 14 under youth baseball team does play here too. In the first couple of games, we did not have a mat out there for them to stand on. So, being that it's 6 feet closer to home plate, when they landed, they were kicking dirt out onto the turf. It's not their fault. It just we didn't realize that right away, and so we'll clean that up, and next year that'll be taken care of. But pitchers are very finicky, so they. Our Wolves pitchers and even the high school pitchers spend a lot of time on their mound.
As we're going toward the dugout here, I have another question relating to this turf. How does it handle rain? You know, if you get on soil, you get a rain, you might have a delay for a day or two. How does it affect the turf, rain?
This turf drains real well. A couple of weeks ago, I think it was like a 3-inch rainfall. Some games are getting canceled up north, and they played down here. I think the Youth Association up in Seymour, they drove up there and they played in the rain. But actually, some of the games got canceled. But a team from Seymour came down here and they couldn't believe it. It rained and it was drained already. So that 3-inch rain a couple of weeks ago, you could have put it in after half an hour after it rained, just let it soak through. We've had no standing water. If we do have standing water, we can take rollers and just roll the water, splash it out, get it from puddling. But we haven't any issues with that yet. So.
And one more question. I was told, maybe this isn't official, but when they're sliding into second base, say they're trying to beat a run or something, that it's a little more, should I say, slipperier than sod? Is there any truth of that?
Oh, that's a home field advantage. Visiting teams came in here. Even our high school kids, when they were having practice early in the spring, they found out that you got to relearn how to slide. A lot of kids were sliding right past the base, but they got used to it, and hopefully the visiting teams don't.
Well, thank you, and next thing we'll talk about is your dugouts here. Well, we're at the dugout area, and we're talking to Dave Pientok. These are special dugouts, according to Ron Henry. They're special. And maybe you could point out some of the things that are special on these dugouts. You give a lot of thought to it. Whose mind did this design come out of?
Everybody's. It's just a typical dugout. Fayen Construction did a lot of work. Ken Halama from Indy Metalworks. I should get paid for advertising for these guys, but he built the support beams. We just thought decorate a little bit instead of having a wooden or just a bench to sit on. We classed it up a little bit. We got areas inside the dugouts for storing helmets, bats, nice benches. They're not wood, they're plastic wood. So you're not going to get slivers and they're not going to wear. Obviously concrete floor, and if you notice here on the outside, we've got a couple of pieces of turf laying here. We're going to turf the whole length here with one solid piece. Here again, not trying to make excuses, but with the time frame we had in the spring, we thought now what we got done, we'll wait until fall. But it's a sturdy dugout. The roof's about 8 inches thick, all concrete, so it's going to last.
It'll last for many generations, and you got it well protected, don't you? I mean, no problems with any foul ball or anything being hit back into the dugout.
No, with the fencing and the netting on the press box, we're pretty safe back here. Try and teach all the players that they're supposed to keep this gate closed during the games, but they like to sit on their buckets, upside down buckets, and watch the game from up in the gap there. But it's pretty well protected.
And how does the other dugout compare on the other side for the other team? How does that compare with this design?
They got the same thing. Actually, when we had done these, the high school team always sat in the third base dugout, looking into the sun on a hot day and getting rain and wind on the cold days. So they finally moved over here to the other side where they're protected from the wind and the sun. So, but it's the exact same thing. I think this dugout is 4 feet shorter because of how far we could go down the line here towards the right, or towards first base. But the same stuff.
Well, Dave, one of the newest additions you've made, and that was 2016 here, is, well, you see a nice staircase going upstairs, and this is kind of more or less a press box. You call it the Ron Henry house because Ron films all the games. He just loves the area that he films here. And tell us a little about it. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, we've talked about that for quite some time. People always asked, well, when are you going to put up an announcing stand? Well, that's when money is available, we'll do it. Fortunate that Dave Wood, a former writer for the local paper, had contacted me after the city center and library project was put on hold, and I just jokingly said, how would you like to donate some money towards the press box? You're a journalist, and he said, well, how about if we do something in the name of his father, grandfather, Ralph Wood. And I got an article on my desk that Dave just sent down from the River Falls paper, and so The Dave Wood family paid for this. Steve Knutson and Bob Casted did the work on it. We got the Ron Henry porch over there, his video porch. The reason we put it on this side of the field is that, number one, you're not looking into the sun, and number two, on the third base side, we want to leave that open in case we want to put additional bleachers. We had no more room to put bleachers on this side, so we decided to put on this side. You're not looking in the sun is one of the big issues, or wind. So, and so spring baseball, you get snow.
That was completed in 2016, this year. And it's kind of fortunate you put these 8-inch concrete there, because you got a lot of pressure from that building on top of that dugout.
I trust the builders. They're good guys, and they know what they're doing. So they got that. There's not the whole weight of the building isn't on it. Just the front 4 feet of the press box. There's a walkway between the dugout and the press box, and there's a storage area underneath the press box. The press box area is only up on top. But there's plenty of room for the high school and the Wolves and the Youth Association to store equipment in there.
Well, WHTL, they broadcast from this first building, and Ron has been filming a lot of games, high school and the Wolves, and he likes that outside area there. But it hasn't rained yet.
I'm waiting for a good gusher someday when Ron's getting set up there and chase him inside. But that's a nice. I'm assuming it's a nice area to film from. That's why we want to put it out there for camera people. And we've toyed with the idea of having a raffle or some goofy thing, just to have kids or families set up as a mini picnic area. But Ron's up there most of the time filming, so there's really not a lot of room left. So.
Well, it's quite an addition, because it's a nice, comfortable place up there, and for broadcasting the games. And WHCL broadcasts a lot of the games, and also it's a nice place to film.
Yeah, we've got room for probably, if we had a couple of radio stations in there. Paul Beck runs our scoreboard. There's a place for sound equipment to play music, so you can handle a pretty good group up there. And the first couple nights of their games here, we had a pretty good crowd in there. I don't know if they're just scoping it out or what, but they enjoyed being up there.
Everybody's curious,
Yeah, everybody's curious.
Ron Henry tells me the only thing that he doesn't have that he'd like to have was a charcoal grill and a cooler. I don't know if that's for beer or not. I'm not sure. I think that's just not allowed in Melby Park.
I don't know. Some of the filming I've seen Ron do, I'm wondering if he didn't have beer up there already.
Well, we're at Dave Pientok here on the deck up here at this press box area. Ron Henry, as most of you know, does a lot of filming out here. He loves this area. He also he covers baseball and high school games, and also the Wolves games. And while he's filming, maybe we could talk just a little bit about the Wolves. The Wolves, I would say, is a semi-pro group of guys that are, most of them are, I think all of them are from Trempealeau County. They're an excellent, high-quality team. And you're the guy, I don't know what to call you, but I think you're the owner of the Wolves, I think, or something like that.
The guys refer to me as George Steinbrenner. I don't know how to take that, but back in 2005, we wanted to get into a league. There's quite a bit of interest from players from Arcadia, Independence, Whitehall, and I went to a meeting to see if we could get in. I think it was 2005. My memory's getting bad, but I think we've been in the league for about 10 years, and it's mostly Arcadia, Galesville. We've got a couple of Whitehall kids on there now again. But it's something. It's not a beer league. I think a lot of people get the impression of a out of high school competition as a bunch of fat old guys just chasing baseballs around. But these are very, very talented players in a great league, the Chippewa River Baseball League, which has been in existence for a long, long time. So it adds a little touch, with spring baseball. There's some opportunity for kids, parents, older people to come and watch some pretty good baseball.
It is very good baseball. It's very good. It don't get too much better than that in this rural area. And you have two other teams from Trempealeau County, the Bullfrogs out of Strum and the Merchants out of Osseo. And you have, I think, 12 teams in that league. But are you divided? Do you play all of them, or are you divided into two or something like that? Or
there are 12 teams, North Division, South Division. Test my memory here. In the South Division, it's obviously the Wolves, Beef River, Osseo, Augusta, Eau Claire Bears, and Halley. And in the North, it's Chippewa Falls, Jim Falls, Tilden, Bloomer, Cadott, and Standing. I think that's 12, isn't it? And the South Division plays the North Division teams a doubleheader. 2 7-inning games, and then you play the other teams in your own division twice, 9-inning games. Obviously, the reason for the double headers, shorter games, you play double headers because it's cutting down the travel time and things. And good ball players, but most of them, you play 18 innings in a day. It gets a 90-degree day like it was this past Sunday. Yeah, it gets a little tough.
Well, you got an outstanding group. How do you go about recruiting these players? Because we've got a lot of good players in the county. These are spread around. You got 2 guys that were on the All-Star team, 2015 for the Chippewa River Baseball League. That was Alex Byam. He's from the down toward the Galesville area, Hardy's Creek. And Scott Hubble, I'm not sure where he's from, but he was on the All-Star team.
Scott's a Gaelic Trempealeau grad. We got several ball players from Arcadia. And as I mentioned a little bit ago, we haven't had a lot of players recently from Whitehall. We started out that way, but other commitments, they felt like they want to play softball. That's fine. We had something going, and now we've got, I think, after this graduating class, 3 new Whitehall kids that are eager to go. So hopefully in time it cycles around. We'll get some more Whitehall kids going, and maybe not as many Arcadia. We'll hope to pick up some Independence or Blair. It's called the Whitehall Wolves, but you need about 20, 25 guys on a roster to make things really work, and we've been very fortunate through the years. Mike Gibbertson helped get us going as a manager, and then Paul Peeler tried to do it as a player coach, and he did that for several years and quite well. And then Louis Ferguson took over here now a couple of years ago, and Louis is a baseball fanatic, so he loves the game. He knows the game. The players respect him, and they play hard for him. And I expect good things again this year.
He's really enthusiastic about baseball. You can tell that by watching him. And I think the Wolves they've been in the don't the northern part and the southern part play each other for the champion of the league, and I think the Wolves have won a couple years at least.
I believe it's 3, and here you're testing me again. We won back-to-back, and then we had a little hiccup there in 2014, but we beat a good Tilden team down here last year, and it's a competitive league. They changed the format a couple years ago after we won a couple of years in a row, and because there were teams in our division that had better records than the teams that won the North Division, so they expanded the playoffs. It used to be just the winner of the North plays the winner of the South. Well, now they take the winner of the North and South and then the 2 next best records. So last couple of years that they've done that, we've had 3 teams from the South and only 1 out of the North. So the South Division is pretty loaded, very good ball clubs, and the North has got some talent too. So it's there again, that'll go in cycles. So trying to figure out how the Eau Claire Bears got into the South Division with us, but good competitive games, and hope we can keep going. Are we going to be on top forever? Probably not. We'll have some years where we might be down, but I can remember when we got in this league, teams loved to play us. Now they don't want to.
Well, I got to ask you this. You know, there's when you got a team, there's quite a bit of expenses with that. I mean, you got uniforms and you got baseballs and other things that you have to have, and you're kind of considered the organizer of the Wolves. Where do you get the money for that?
Boy, you're a picky guy, aren't you? No, yeah, I got them going, and they knew that in time that they would become self-sufficient. They've had some fundraisers. They were bartenders and wait staff at Newcomb Valley Tavern last year, a good fundraiser. They have a concession stand. The goal is to raise enough money from the concession stand to pay for the umpires for the day, and the other fundraising stuff, and the players chip in from their own money now. They're self-sufficient, so that's good to see.
Well, I'd suggest to the listening audience, if you ever have a chance, come out and see the Wolves. They're a very good ball club.
And if you can't get out, they're on WHTL every broadcast. Marty Little, Terry, yeah, those guys. I think they look forward to Wolves broadcast. And of course, we got the infamous Paulie Beck religiously here, running the scoreboard and doing his howling. And
he's got the wolf owl.
He's got the wolf owl down. I got to get him a costume.
You hear that on TV, on the radio every once in a while.
Oh yeah, and I've talked to Paulie. Paul's a good guy. Just gets carried away sometimes, gets excited, and we just have to rope him in a little bit.
He's really a sports enthusiast.
You can't take that away from the guy. Love Paul, great guy.
Well, Dave, have we covered everything here at the ball field here in Whitehall and Melby Park? Beautiful park. You've been behind the guy with the thoughts, the guy that can get money, the guy that convinced people to give. You got the talent, you got the imagination, and I think, you put a lot of your own money in this. I think you put a lot of money in it yourself. So we really appreciate that, everything that you've done to make this park what it is today, one of the best in western Wisconsin, and also with the work with the Wolves. We want to thank you very much for that.
Well, thanks, Olin, and I want to point out that I've mentioned a few names here today. Some of the architects, the builders, the school. There's been a lot of people, either monetarily or volunteer work, come down and look at the list, as you mentioned earlier, on the recognition board over here. We'll probably update that a little bit, because there have been some people who have given time and money since that was put up. But in no way do I want to cite anybody. I don't think everybody out there really appreciates what I feel what they've done to help me out. This is not my doing by myself. I mean, this has been a community effort. I'm glad people have the time to come out and appreciate it. And if I ever move away from here, maybe get run out of town, I don't know. But I told Ashley over at the City Hall a couple of weeks ago that we're wrapping things up over here, and God love her, but she goes, when can you work on Larson Park? So it's been a fun, like I said, it started out in 2001. This is 16, that's 15 years. So it didn't happen overnight.
Well, I suggested to the city council that this park should be named Dave Pientok Field in Melby Park. And I still think that way. I hope it is one of these days.
I appreciate it, Olin, but that's not the intent. This is a community park. The surrounding area has been good to my family in our bad times and in our business, and I guess it's my way of giving something back to the area. So you guys up in Austria, if you watch this, I've given you guys a little bit of help too, so I don't discriminate.
Well, thank you, Dave, and Ron and I want to thank you very much for the show today. And with that, we'll see you at the next Discover Trempealeau County show real soon.